Good afternoon, everyone. Today's lecture is female genital tract and breast. Myself, Dr. Shital Sheth, Department of Pathology. So, this is the normal anatomy of the female genital tract, which includes uterus with cervix and vagina, fallopian tube, ovary, and the ligaments attached to that. You can see the uterus. It is having three parts: fundus, corpus, which is known as body, and the lower portion of the uterus, which is known as isthmus. You can see the fallopian tube attached to the uterus, and fallopian tube in the end there are fimbria. Beside that there is ovary. You can see the suspended ligament of the ovary, ovarian ligament, mesovarium. So these all ligaments make the ovary in that place, right? So this is the cut section of the uterus, which is having three layers, which is known as the endometrium, myometrium, and endometrium, myometrium, and the serosal layer. And endometrial carcinoma most commonly occurs in the endometrial layer. So we turn by turn see the pathology which occurs in the female genital tract. So first one is the endometrial hyperplasia. Age mostly menopausal. Clinical features: bleeding per vaginum. Glandular architectural abnormalities are there. Glandular crowding. What you can see in the microscopy is glandular crowding with cystic dilatation of the gland, which is known as simple hyperplasia, or glandular budding, which is known as complex hyperplasia. So basically endometrial hyperplasia, it is having two type of classification. One is simple endometrial hyperplasia, another one is the complex and endometrial hyperplasia, typical endometrial hyperplasia, and atypical endometrial hyperplasia. Cytological atypia include nuclear enlargement and nuclear rounding, some degree of pleomorphism, and an increase in the nuclear cytoplasmic ratio. These all pictures are of endometrial hyperplasia. In the first row, this is the above picture. In the first column, the above and below picture are of simple endometrial hyperplasia, and the second column is of complex endometrial hyperplasia, where you can see the endometrial crowding, endometrial gland crowding with nuclear abnormalities. Second pathology is leiomyoma. It is basically a benign tumor of the myometrium. It can happen in any age. Grossly, what you can see is nodular, small to large, solitary or multiple, sharply demarcated, well circumscribed lesion. Cut section shows raw silk, or typically it is having a whorled appearance. What you can see in the microscopy, it is interlacing bundle of the smooth muscle with oval nucleus and long slender bipolar cytological processes. Leiomyoma, histopathologically there are three types. One is intramural, which you can see in the myometrium. One is subserosal, which you can see underneath of serosa, and one is submucosal, which you can see in the endometrium. This is the gross specimen of the cut section of the uterus. In the section you can see the from inward to outward, going from inward to outward. One is the submucosal fibroid. The one you can see in the myometrium is the myometrial submural fibroid, and the outermost side you can see the subserosal fibroid. This is the microscopy. You can see the interlacing smooth muscle fiber in the whorled pattern, having oval nucleus with no obvious malignant features. So this is the slide of leiomyoma. What are the secondary changes that happen in the leiomyoma is hyaline degeneration, red degeneration, myxomatous degeneration, calcification, and cystic degeneration. The next one is the carcinoma cervix, which happen in the third decade to the postmenopausal woman. Clinical feature: the most commonly clinical feature is the female present with the bleeding per vaginum, It has two types. One is invasive carcinoma cervix and second one is a non-invasive carcinoma cervix, which is known as CIN. CIN is carcinoma in neoplasia. So CIN 1, which includes lower 1/3 of the cervix, CIN 2, which includes lower 2/3 of the cervix, and CIN 3, which includes entire thickness of the cervix. Grossly, site is at squamocolumnar junction is the most common site. It has it can be single or multiple mass. It can be ulcerative or fungating mass. Most common is squamous cell carcinoma, but adenocarcinoma and adenosquamous carcinoma may exist in carcinoma cervix. This is the gross depiction or picturization of the how growth of the cervix appear. As you can see in the first figure, uterus is shown, and usually growth appear in the lower part of the cervix. You can see in the second figure there is a healthy cervix viewed from the below, and cervix with the carcinoma, in which you can see the central reddish area, which is the growth. This is the gross specimen of the cervix. You can see the cervix from the below and central yellowish to brownish fungating mass in the cervix. This is the cut section of the uterus with cervix. In this also you can see the cervical mass. This is the microscopy of the carcinoma cervix. You can see the squamous cells below the epidermis. So this is the squamous cell carcinoma of the cervix. Now ovarian tumors. Ovarian tumor has three parts, which is surface epithelial tumor, germ cell tumor, sex cord stromal tumor. Surface epithelial tumor includes serous tumor, mucinous tumor, Brenner tumor, and endometrioid tumor. And germ cell tumor include dysgerminoma, yolk sac tumor, choriocarcinoma, and teratoma. Sex cord stromal tumor include granulosa cell tumor, thecoma, fibroma, and Sertoli leading cell tumor. First is the serous cyst adenoma, which include adult female, 40% bilateral. Grossly, you can see small to large cyst, unilocular serous fluid present, papillary structure present. Microscopically, you can see cuboidal to columnar lining. Most common microscopy is adenocarcinoma, which includes stromal invasion, nuclear atypia, high mitosis, and gland complexity. This is the gross specimen of the serous cyst adenoma, which include the multilocular cyst with containing the serous fluid. This is another specimen of the serous cyst adenoma. These are the microscopy in which you can see the cystic spaces, papillary projection, and serous cyst adenoma lining surface the papillary projections. This is the Samoma bodies and calcification. You can see that in the papillary, which is very common in the serous cyst adenoma in the papillary projection. Second one is the mucinous cyst adenoma, which is less common, only 5% bilateral, grow larger, cystic, and multiloculated. Fluid is mucinous and viscous. Microscopically, two types cell lining: endocervical and intestinal. One adenocarcinoma more than cell line with invasion. This is the mucinous slide of the mucinous cyst adenoma. Dysgerminoma, ovarian counterpart of the seminoma of the testis, is dysgerminoma in the female. 1% of the ovarian tumor. It happened in the young age between 20 to 30 years. 15% it is bilateral, grossly large, solid, encapsulated, smooth surface, and cut section shows solid grey, soft, fleshy, occasional hemorrhaging. As you can see in the picture, there is multiloculated specimen of the dysgerminoma. Microscopically, you can see well-defined sheets or nests separated by the septa infiltrated by the lymphocyte. Tumor cells are large, uniform, vesicular nucleus, clear cytoplasm having glycogen. Yes, you can see the slide of the dysgerminoma, which shows the tumor cells have clear cytoplasm, predominantly central nuclei with frequent prominent nucleoli, and note the presence of the few lymphocytes in the septa. Second one is the teratoma. Immature, it has classified in the two forms, immature and mature teratoma. Immature is the malignant one and mature is the benign. Specialized and monodermal, stroma ovary, thyroid tissue, and stromal carcinoid, serotonin secretion. What is mature cystic teratoma, which is also known as dermoid cyst? Most common ovarian tumor of the children, 88% it is unilateral. Grossly you can see the multiloculated contain keratin, sebum, hair, teeth, cartilage and bone. Microscopically 100% tumor is the ectodermal tissue, 93% mesodermal tissue and 71% endodermal tissue, which include skin, hair follicle, neural, GIT, thyroid and pituitary tissue. As you can see in the figure, you can see the tooth, cartilage, hair and surrounding structure in the dermoid cyst. This is another gross picture of the dermoid cyst teratoma. Another picture. And this is the microscopy of the dermoid cyst, which includes epithelium, sebaceous glands, hair follicles and cartilage. Ectopic pregnancy, implantation of the fetus in any site other than the normal uterine location, it is known as ectopic pregnancy. Most common site is within the tube, which is fallopian tube, 90% cases, then ovary, abdominal cavity and intrauterine portion of the fallopian tube, once in every 150 pregnancy. These are the ectopic sites of the ectopic pregnancy. Usually the pregnancy implantation occurs in the body of the uterus, but if it is implanted other than this site, which is known as ectopic pregnancy, so the other sites are cornua, tubal pregnancy, ovarian pregnancy and abdominal pregnancy. Hydatidiform mole, which can be complete or partial. Cystic swelling of chorionic villi accompanied by variable trophoblastic proliferation precede choriocarcinoma, occur at any age during active reproductive life. Risk is higher in pregnant women in their teens or between the ages of 40 to 50 years. This is the gross specimen of the hydatidiform mole. These are the features of complete versus partial hydatidiform mole. Villus edema is all villi are villus in complete mole, and in partial it is some villi are villus, show villus edema. Trophoblastic proliferation is diffuse and circumferential in complete mole and focal and slight in partial mole. Atypia is often present in complete mole and absent in partial mole. Serum HCG level is elevated in complete mole and less elevated in partial mole. Human chorionic gonadotropin in tissue is +4 in complete mole and it is less in partial mole. 2% chances of choriocarcinoma is there in complete mole, but it is rare in chances of having choriocarcinoma is rare in partial mole. These are the pictures of the mole, which shows the syncytial trophoblast and choriotrophoblast. Also, you can see the villi with edema. Invasive mole that penetrates and may even perforate the uterine wall, which is known as invasive mole. Invasion of the myometrium by hydropic chorionic villi accompanied by proliferation of both cytotrophoblast and syncytial trophoblast. This is the gross specimen of the invasive mole. Choriocarcinoma, epithelial malignant neoplasm of the trophoblastic cell derived from any form of previously normal or abnormal pregnancy. Most cases arise in the uterus. Ectopic pregnancies provide extrauterine sites of origin. Rapidly invasive, widely metastasizing malignant neoplasm, and it responds well to chemotherapy. These are the specimen of the choriocarcinoma, and these are the microscopic pictures of the choriocarcinoma. Now coming to the topic of the breast, normal anatomy of the breast. Resting mammary gland consists of 6 to 7 major duct systems subdivided into lobules. Each lobule divided into two parts. One is stidlu, consisting of ETD, ITD and ductules or acini. Large duct system consisting of subsegmental duct, segmental duct, lactiferous sinus and collecting duct. The ductal lobular system is covered by two cell types, inner layer with secretory and absorptive function, epithelial cell and other myoepithelial cell. The breast is covered by skin and subcutaneous tissue and rests on pectoralis major muscle separated by the fascia. This is the normal breast lobule in the low power. You can see the tidlu and the ductular system. What are the lesions? Though that can be benign breast lesion or carcinoma of the breast. Benign, it can have epithelial lesion and stromal lesion. In epithelial lesion, you can have non-proliferative, which are having fibrocystic changes, and proliferative breast changes, which can be without atypia and with atypia. And another is the malignant one, which is known as carcinoma of the breast, which include carcinoma in situ and invasive carcinoma. To start with, ductal carcinoma in situ, lesion consists of malignant cells that lack the capacity to invade the through basement membrane and therefore incapable of the distant metastasis. Tidlu lesion, 50 to 55 years of age, divided into high grade, which is known as choriocarcinoma with necrosis and pleomorphism, intermediate grade, clinging, and low grade, papillary solid, cribriform micropapillary and cystic hypersecretory. These lesions may spread through ductal system and produce extensive lesion. IHC is positive for E-cadherin and negative for HMW keratin, which is high molecular weight keratin. These are the picture of the ductal carcinoma in situ. The left side you can see the normal tissue structure, and the right side of the picture is showing the malignant cells. Now, invasive or infiltrating carcinoma. Invasive carcinoma almost always present as a palpable mass, axillary lymph node mets. Larger carcinomas may be fixed to the chest wall or dimpling of the skin. Lymphatics may become so involved as to block the local area of the skin drain and cause lymphedema and thickening of the skin. On gross examination, what you can see is most carcinoma are firm to hard and have an irregular border. Within the center of the carcinoma, there are small pinpoint foci or streaks of chalky white elastotic stroma and occasionally small foci of the calcification. There is a characteristic grating sound when cut or scraped. Less frequently, carcinomas have a well circumscribed border and may be soft to firm in consistency. These are microscopic pictures of the invasive carcinoma. Well differentiated invasive carcinoma of no special type. Well formed tubule nest of the cells with small monomorphic nuclei invade into the stroma with a surrounding desmoplastic response. In the figure B, you can see the poorly differentiated invasive carcinoma with no special type. Rack sheets of the pleomorphic cell without tubule formation infiltrates into the adjacent stroma. Thank you.